Hi, I'm Subhashini, and today we're meeting up to do the last part of the project that we started in HR Analytics. You will remember the project, and I hope you have made an attempt to download the data set and start off on the data cleaning. We had looked at a lot of data. This is the set of data that we had for 1,480 odd rows of data for various employees across 40 odd attributes. And what we had really wanted to do was we wanted to visualize the data, understand the data, and do some sort of an exploratory data analysis. And the outcome was to be an interactive dashboard so that not only I or the analytics team can do it, but any of the business teams can take the analysis forward. Then, if you might again remember, we had looked at the process of Decova and I and tried to put down the define, collect, and organize part where we had, of course, done the definition of what is required from the project, collecting the data where here it is only this one data sheet we have been provided, and organizing the data where we looked at doing derived variables or groups and missing values and duplicates. So the duplicates had yielded that there were 10 rows of data where there was duplication, and these were complete duplications. We had checked it manually and seen, and we have removed these into this particular sheet. Then when in the data analytics data, we had done certain clubs. So what were these? We had seen the distance from home, and then we had made a group of distance from home group. You can see here the formula that is there. And I had requested you to check if you can do something very similar for a few more. So the two columns we had done was distance from home and this hourly rate, grouping it into three sets of hourly rates that are available in this data. Today, we'll go to the next part of this, which is visualizing the data. Visualization actually starts by summarizing the data, and the tool for summary is called pivots. The chart of visualizing, of course, is the charts like the pie chart, the bar charts, line charts, etc. And we will look at how to create this so that we can get an interactive dashboard. One of the good things to do here is that we should ensure that any formulas that exist in the data sheet should be copy paste special so that when we are doing any you know manipulations, the formula does not get disturbed. Now that we already know the formula, we already know how to insert it, we just copy paste special so that there is no disturbance. It also reduces the size of the workbook. If you're looking at data across say 100 columns and you've done some 15-20 clubbing, you might find that the certain size of the worksheet might increase. So of course, putting a pivot is pretty simple. We go to the insert function, and over here you have the pivot table. From a table or range, we choose the whole data set here and want to put out the pivot table to a new worksheet. Now we have this data in a new worksheet. And one of the things I love to do is to go and look at the classic pivot table layout, which allows me to drag and drop information into the pivot table. The primary key or the unique identifier of the employees is, of course, the employee ID. And what we really want to do is to count the employee IDs at different stages. So, how would we go about it? We can now look at these employees and distribute them by age group. We can also look at people who have attrited yes and no, so that we can conclude that which of them are employees who are currently in the system and which of them are employees who are currently not in the system. Okay, now the easiest way to create a visual would be that we just take this and put in a visualization into a graph. We just 1 minute. I'm going to remove the blanks because they're just adding bulk to the table size. Here again, I'm removing the blanks. And what we want to do is we can just look at it by inserting a graph here. How is it possible? Just go to insert, and here you can see recommended charts, right? So you can just choose the recommended charts, and that should be a good enough methodology to um, do this. So here you go, attrition, no and yes, and you have the employee count, okay, in different age groups. So if we can do this, and here you can use the filterings within the graph also, if you want to see only a few items, so on and so forth. Okay. But this is quite ineffective in the sense that we have to create multiple graphs, and we will have to manually put this into these type of filters into the graph. Okay. So suppose we don't want to do that. We don't want to put filters like this. You've seen examples of good dashboards. You have a part where you can go and add information, right? So what is it that we want to do here? We are seeing the employee count of employees by age, and we are seeing attrition, yes and no. Instead of seeing it like this, what if I could put slicers? Okay, so I can just put this away, perhaps change the type of graph that I want. Yeah. And what I really want to do is perhaps do a pie chart. Okay. I want to do a pie chart. I can also do a donut chart, whichever that looks good to me. I can decide to do it. And then, of course, I can also decide to, you know, change the colors, etc., if I want to. Okay. But just now, for demo purposes, let it be as it is. And then what I do is I want to go to the data tab, and I want to, or rather to the insert tab, and I want to put slicer. So instead of attrition, etc., as these filters, what I want to do is add a slicer. So I choose the part of this and go and say slicer. And over here, see what we were seeing. Age group we already have. Attrition is what we were seeing. And what are we doing now? Instead of doing it from here through a filter, I can just do it from a slicer. So here are this is the distribution of employees of people in the country who have not yet tried it, who are currently live in the country. Sorry, not the country, company. And here in when I choose yes, these are the people who have tried it, who have left the company, and they are currently not employees of the company. So this is the distribution. You can see, compare, right? Like here we can see that for the people who are currently left the company, there was a lot of people in the age group of 26 to 35, and the people who did not leave the company, who are currently with the company, this ratio is less, and there's a significantly large number of people in the 36 to 45 age band. But this is too preliminary. We won't be able to conclude really on the analysis at this point. So I'll take a pause and allow you to try and insert a few slices by yourself. So of course, one slicer that I would wanted to see was attrition, and maybe I want to insert one more slicer on a few other elements. I want to be able to insert slices. So if you click on the any other part, you won't be able to insert. You have to go back to the pivot table. And here, when you say slicer, you will be able to put it in. So suppose this is something we had created, distance from home group, and then we had looked at hourly rate group, and then we had wanted to look at job satisfaction and maybe job level. So I'm putting a few slicers, and I'm hoping that you will do the rest at your own time, as you will practice on this data set. As I mentioned to you earlier, the data set is provided in the Google link, and I hope you will use it. So I can now, just to demonstrate to you what the slicers enable me to do. It enables me to be able to make this graph you know, an instrument of um, analysis. Like currently, if I want to analyze all the people who are in my system, who are in my organization, I choose attrition, no. And then I want to look at people with high job satisfaction. So if I look at it, this is the combination, or this is the uh, distribution of employees who have scored 4 in the job satisfaction. If I want to look at the people who are very dissatisfied, who have scored 1, this is the composition. So what has really moved? I can see the 46 to 55 ratio in the 1 scores is quite large as compared to the 4 scores. Can you see this? Okay, so one way is to do this, but again, as you notice that this is very manual. What you really want to do is to have a few graphs, and if all of them can move with the slicer, it will be easier for you to make out the differences. And we'll see how to do that, because that's what interactive dashboards are about. Now, if I was to if I want to remove the filters on the job satisfaction and just check out this. So people who earn less versus people who earn more. Okay. So when you look at it in people who earn less, I can see again the same thing, that people who earn less, the ratio of people is changing, right, in this. Now when I look at the job level, if I want to see people at the highest job level versus the lowest job level, so here it is, at the highest job level, you will notice that the age group, none of the very young people have come into the highest job levels, right? While in the lowest job level, you have people from all age groups in the lowest job levels. So like this, we can do the analysis. But as I mentioned to you, this is quite ineffective in the sense that we will have to create multiple pivots. And for each pivot, we will need to go and do this slicing together. So the idea becomes that why can we not create one view where we can see all these graphs and charts move? And the answer to that is yes, of course we can. Okay, we can, and that is what we will do in the next part. For this part, I just want you to get familiar with doing something like this, and I will request you, why don't you try and create a couple of such graphs and charts and see for yourself how this works. So, what are the things that you must do at this stage? One is you need to understand what are the type of graphs and charts that you can create, and therefore, if you go here, you will be able to see all the type of graphs and charts. Okay, so if you say that, Subhashini, I prefer to see it like a bar like this, that's also good. I can do it like this, and I find it more easy to work with this. Yes, so that's also great. So what does it do? In this format, it gives me a very clear idea, very easy idea of how the numbers are looking, what the numbers are. So that's also fine. Then somebody might say, no, but I prefer, can I not do it in some other way? And then we can go and check it out. Okay. One of them could be the scatter plot. Do you want to check out a scatter plot, or you want to look at a tree map? Yeah. Or a sunburst. So some of these graphs and chart types don't work with pivot tables. You will notice that. But I just wanted you to see. The most common one is this, which is called a combo chart. Now, one is seeing the absolute numbers, and the second is, can we also see the percentages? So let's see that. I'm removing the filters here. And what I really want to do is that I want to be able to add a column here which gives me percentages. Okay. So I go to field list, and then I want to see employee ID. Okay, again, this has given me the count of employee ID, but what I really want is this, show the value as percentage of column total. Okay, so here you go. You can see that this is data where not only is it telling us what is the count of employees, it's also telling us what is this percentage. Okay, now of course we will have to change this graph. So let's see how we can change this graph. You can see that I have let the slicers be. All I'm doing is I'm changing the type of graph. What do I want in this? I will now look at creating what is called a combo. Okay. And what is the best part of a combo? See, here the numbers are as big as 281, 123, but in a percentage column, it can only be up to 100, right? So what I really want to do is to actually, create a value on a secondary axis. So this is on this axis, I can see percentage, and on this axis, I can see the actual count. So if I tell you this is 51%, what is the count? It is 281. Okay, so I can see both of this. You might say that, Subhashini, I want to make this as the secondary axis and I don't want to make this as the secondary axis. You can do it like that also. If that is what helps you, you will notice that whichever is the primary axis will show up on the left side and whichever is the secondary axis will show up on the right side. I feel more comfortable using this format and therefore I will use this format out here. Okay. Now what do I get? I am able to see these values. For this line, I actually want to add the data. So I go to add data labels. Okay. So what has happened is that I can see the number over here and I can see the data percentage numbers over here. We can, of course, beautify this chart, right? So there are some things that we don't want to see. Like here, I want to hide all the field buttons on the chart. I want to even hide the access field buttons on the chart. Okay. This is doing nothing at all. Okay. This report filter also, I don't want to show on the chart. My legend, I want to put it at the bottom. So if I go here and I say bottom, here we go. Right. I want to add perhaps some sort of a header to the chart. So I go here and I say chart title. Right. What is this? This is a chart which tells me count of employees. It tells me the count, of course. It also tells me the percentage. So count and percentage of employees by age group. Okay. So this is what it is. Do I want to make any other cosmetic changes, etc.? Yes, of course. I can do all of this here. Okay. So if the one of the common things that people want to do is if they want to see the numbers within the graph itself is add a data table, it makes everything very, very simple. And if I add a data table, I could actually just remove this legend, right? Okay. I don't need it here. Okay. So I just have this table out here, which gives me the number and the percentages, and therefore I don't even need to get the data labels. I can go to data labels and remove it. So if I want to see the exact values, I can see it out here. If you like this, we can stop over here and I will request you therefore to make a few, practice a few of these combo charts because they are by far the most useful charts when it comes to creating interactive dashboards. It gives you values at least in two ways. It will give you the percentage distribution as well as it will give you the actual count of whatever employees, etc., etc. So if I want to see all the people who are currently live in my system, here is how it looks. And if I want to see the people who are attrited in my system, this is how it goes. And if I want to see all the people who are attrited and live, this is how it goes. With this, I'll close the session. And in the next session, we'll open it with a few pivots that we have created. So you might ask me, Subhashini, what are these few pivots that you're talking about? Well, here you go. I will just create one here. So I've called this one pivot one. Okay. Well, how do I create a new pivot? I actually just go here, say move or copy, and I actually say create a copy and I go okay. Okay, so I get a pivot two. Now in this pivot two, what I want to see perhaps is the total count of employees and the or I can see the count of employees by job satisfaction, etc., etc. Let's see one of the columns which we have not used over here, maybe by department. Okay, so this is the total count of employees, and this is employees by department. So I've just made this small change, and you can see that my graph has actually updated itself. Okay. You might, as I mentioned to you, at this point, you might take a call that I really want to change the type of the graph or the color of the graphs. Go ahead and do that. But all I'm trying to tell you is it's not very difficult to create multiple pivots. Create a few of them and keep it ready for the next part. With this, I'll close this session. I hope you've liked it, and I really hope that you will follow and share this. If you have any specific problem that you have in your organization, or you are working on some data and you need help, you can please put in a comment and we can discuss how you can get in touch and we can work on it together. Okay, see you then. Bye.